right. How we doing this evening, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, I'm in a Cowboys jersey. So Felix Jones jersey tonight. For all my Niner fans that I do my co-host with. Yes, we're doing Cowboys tonight. So that's what we're doing. And for driving to the top productions today, we did hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you, everybody. Today we are talking Cowboys, and we're going to bring in our first guest tonight, Mr. Trey. How are you tonight?
How y'all doing?
Good. You?
Oh, living the dream, sir. Living the dream. Ready to talk about my disappointing and uplifting, but more disappointing Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. All right. So I'll bring on your co-host, and then that way Jens can tell us what you guys do.
Howdy, y'all. Mark. How y'all doing?
Good. Well, I'm doing good. I just got off work and shoved the food down my throat real quick, but it happens. So what do you guys talk about on your podcast?
Mainly, we go over the highs and lows of the Dallas Cowboys. Started earlier this year. Beforehand, we were kind of an all-encompassing podcast, but then we wanted to focus on our favorite team, the team that gives us the most jitters on Sundays. And mainly throughout the entire season, whatever they're doing, we find the good and the bad. And, obviously for a very long time, mainly the last 25 years, it has been mostly bad. But, we hold out hope. And
every year they bring us right back in.
Oh, yeah.
So how long have you two been together? Oh, I mean, on the podcast.
We've known it. Just so you know, but we've known each other since high school. We talked about doing a podcast for years, and we finally kind of pulled the trigger in 2020 when we started our first podcast.
Sitting at home anyway, right?
Yeah, and it was the best time because the sports world shut down. So
yeah, we're the dumbasses that started a podcast when all the sports got canceled. That was fun.
Yeah, good timing on our part, but now we're getting back into it. We both like doing it, and now we're talking about just what,
Sweet.
We want to talk about it for sure.
All right. Well, we will definitely collab. We talk now. I got Mark today. Sorry to be blunt with you, Mark, but I was at work and I just threw everything at you real quick. I wasn't trying to be a dick, but I just wanted to throw everything at you. So
you're good, man. I got it. Trey kind of told me the gist of it today. I was at his kid's birthday party.
All right.
With my kid. We both have 3 kids each. So, yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we bring in another guest, and we have 2 left, and let's bring in Adam.
How's it going, guys? What's up? What's going on, guys?
What's going on, Adam?
Thanks. So, Adam, what do you do?
I write full-time NFL for a site called Sportskeeda. Crank out about 80 to 100 articles a month for that website. Then I also run my own podcast, Sports Talk with Adam Holst. We cover a lot of NFL, some UFC, and then like a little bit of everything else as well. Kind of all-encompassing.
Okay. Do you run a Friday night show for UFC only, or do you run an aftermath too?
No, I do more preview. Most of the stuff I do is more preview related with upcoming stuff, making picks, stuff like that.
Sweet. All right. I met Adam through the what is it, contest or?
Oh yeah, like the Twitter retweeting groups.
Yeah.
The content sharing groups.
It's very difficult to keep up in that group.
I feel like you kind of have a Dana White voice to you too, so it works out that you've got this UFC thing going on.
Dude,
I haven't heard that before, but I like that.
I was just thinking that when you were talking, I was like, "Oh my god, who does he sound like?"
You know what? I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Some might not take that as a compliment, but I will.
That's one rich dude, man. I don't see anything wrong with it.
All right, we're gonna bring in our final guest, who is Mr. Ernest. How are you tonight, sir?
Guys, I'm just really glad to be with you guys, and I've kind of watched y'all from afar. So I think Adam and I have been a part of many groups together. So it's nice to finally get in the same room together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, uniting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I come from the Into the Lab podcast. I'm a co-owner for a media group called Blue Collar Media. And I go on Wednesday nights talking mainly sports analytics for fantasy football, the NFL, and the NBA. And Can't get enough of my Cowboys. So I said, can't miss a chance to collab with some great minds on Dallas Cowboys. So excited to be here.
All right. Have y'all Ian's been Cowboy fans your whole life, or?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So were any of yous alive when this picture happened? The Neil O'Donnell and Larry Brown? 94?
Yes.
Yes.
95
I would have
Super
been
Bowl,
born.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I was
I've been
alive.
5.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
still would have been in Dallas, but I was probably in pull-ups or something.
In fact,
curious.
my dad made me a Cowboys fan, and he's from Arizona too. And he said before the Arizona Cardinals came in, they would play Raiders games and they would play Cowboys games on TV. So he just became a Cowboys fan. So I was kind of born into it, you could say. My first football memory is watching the '95 Super Bowl. It was actually played here in Arizona with Troy Aikman. And
You're looking at one of the pictures.
Yep.
I said Neil O'Donnell should be the MVP.
I was 6 years old watching the game with my dad on TV, and he said, the game's, played just downtown. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool.
It only took them 25 years to put significant money into that stadium that they played in for that too.
Oh yeah.
Adam, how did you become a Cowboys fan living where you are?
Well, I have family in Dallas. I was actually born in Dallas. I can't really say I'm from Dallas. I only lived there for about 2 years, but I was born in Plano, so kind of Dallas area. And then, like I said, I still have some family there. You kind of said that your dad was a Cowboys fan. My dad was actually born and raised and grew up a Buffalo Bills fan. So he's not exactly thrilled that I decided to be a Cowboys fan.
Good thing you weren't around for them early years, huh?
Well, I mean, I was around, I was still kind of a kid then and, kind of took the, the opposite route with that one.
I imagine there were some broken TVs after those 4 years.
Yeah, you could say that. Sure.
And those TVs were not light then.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, Adam, I always say you can take the boy out of Texas, but you can't take Texas out of the boy. So if you want to say that you're from Texas, man, I do the same thing. I was there for maybe 2 years longer than you were. So I say the same thing.
Okay. Yep. I do always say it. I say I'm from Jersey, born in Texas.
There you go. There you go.
I got to go after a different name. Call me Miggs, Miggs, because my real name is Adam.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's why I was starting to respond, and I was like, wait, he's talking to him.
Yeah.
Has anyone? So, if you guys have not been to the new Jerry Dome yet?
I was there once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there. Yep.
Yeah. Mark and I went together one year. We were actually there for the Zeke Elliott Salvation Army game.
Oh, cool.
When he jumped into
in the kettle. That was a great
yeah.
game.
I actually went with my dad to the Bills Cowboys Thanksgiving game.
Okay, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We lost that
game,
but yeah.
That game was that was probably one of the coldest I've ever been. We were tailgating around the stadium with all the fans, and they're like, I don't know where this came from.
Right.
And I think Trey was in shorts, his
polar vortex, baby.
It was bad.
Yeah.
That was a fun game though.
It was a fun game, yeah.
I've been to the new Jerry Dome once. I got to tour it. We did the walkthrough. It wasn't football season. But let me tell you something. That was the best $50 I ever spent.
Incredible.
It was just so fun. They let you go on the field. You can play catch on the field. There's footballs laying around. They got to go in the cheerleaders' locker room. Got to go in the regular locker room. Got to walk the whole thing. It took 5.5 hours, but it was fun.
Wow.
So if you ever get a chance to just tour the thing, it's well worth it. Because they say during game day now it's a lot different. Like if you buy standing room only, you got to stay in a certain section of the stadium now. You can't walk around and venture. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I was told when I was talking to someone. So just to let you know, if you get a chance, to go tour it, and it's pretty cool. You get to go on the field, take pictures and stuff.
Yeah,
So.
Trey and I got to do that as well.
Ernest, you ever done
after
it?
The game?
Yeah, I unfortunately went to the Cardinals Cowboys game last year, so I got to experience that in person. Fun fact: my mother actually won the Dallas Cowboys scratch off, so we got season tickets for a year. So I was able to go to that for free. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
That's
sweet.
nice.
Yeah. So
Especially with the way ticket prices are nowadays. That's
so they
clutch.
actually do pick winners on those things. So I got a testament
They don't
to it.
make it up.
They don't make it up.
I don't think I've ever met anyone that actually won one of those. Now I'm
No.
talking to someone, so now I have to believe they're real, right?
It was incredible. I thought the tickets wouldn't work when I walked in, but nope, worked. Got to go in. It was amazing. Yeah,
Wow.
on the 50. It's nice.
Wow.
All right.
Nice.
All right. So where did you guys go for quarterback on this one? Who's your all timer? I went with it was a struggle, but I went with Staubach.
Yeah,
That's a good
can't go
choice.
wrong with Captain America. That's who I did too. 2-time Super Bowl winner, Vietnam veteran. What you want in your quarterback on and off the field, it's hard to argue with. I'm generally one of those guys that doesn't judge a quarterback based off of how many Super Bowls he has. You can still be a great quarterback. You can still be one of the best if you don't have any, or whether if you have Tom Brady and you have 7 of them. So Roger Staubach for me was definitely number one, and Troy Aikman would come in as a close second, as another great guy on and off the field. But yes, Staubach for me.
I didn't know this, but Tony Romo owns the leading yard passing stat for 10 years.
Yes.
I did not know that till I looked it up, and he didn't play for 2 of them.
No.
He didn't play he only played for 10 years, but he was on the team for 12. So I thought that was pretty. I thought that was like a little honorable mention, I guess. That's a pretty good stat to have. But
Yeah,
I think
went
we
with
could
Roger
all
Staubach.
agree. Yeah, everybody here, I bet, could agree that we all love Tony. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
never.
I did on my fantasy team.
Never
Yeah,
quite worked
absolutely.
out.
I didn't have to worry about him in the playoffs.
No, you
Yeah,
don't
I
have to
mean-
worry about any Cowboy quarterback in the playoffs.
Tony
Go
Romo
ahead,
for me.
Ernest.
Tony Romo for me came in third. I mean, honestly, 29 game-winning drives, over 34,000 plus yards, 4 Pro Bowls. I mean, it was a playmaker. He was the Dallas Cowboys there for a while. We had no defense, and until we started actually building the line, it was really tough to watch. He was the guy, right? So, I think from a skill perspective, you can argue Tony Romo is really up there. But Staubach was my number 1, Aikman my number 2, very close number 2, and Romo was my 3.
Mark? Who'd you go with?
I went with Troy Aikman, number 1. I'd like to think I'm a guy that doesn't count Super Bowls, but I mean he's got
He has
3
3 of them.
to Staubach's 2. I get it. Staubach's 1B to Aikman's 1A for me. I thought about being the devil's advocate and throwing Romo out there, just based on what he did in his career, even though he never got to the big game. But Troy was number 1 for me, and I love his commentary, and I think he's just a all around great quarterback on one of the better teams for the 90s.
I went with Tony Dorsett. I didn't really go 1A, 1B, but I went with Tony Dorsett because that name came first to mind before the other guy, Mr. Emmitt Smith.
The other guy.
Well, yeah, Tony Dorsett, Super Bowl champion, offensive rookie of the year, 4 times Pro Bowl, 12,739 yards, 77 touchdowns, Hall of Fame in college and pro. Hard to leave him off your list, I believe.
No,
Anyone?
absolutely. Yeah, I'll let Adam. You want to take this one? Take the running backs.
I mean, I love Tony Dorsett, and he would definitely be number 2 on my list. But I mean, it has to be Emmitt Smith, right? I mean, he's like the all-time leader in like everything rushing. He was really the engine that drove that Dallas team of the 90s. I mean, the great offensive line, of course, too. But Emmitt did, a lot of the dirty work, and his resume just speaks for himself. He has to be my number 1 running back.
I had Emmitt Smith on my list too, but I just went running back. So I didn't really have a 1A, 1B. I just kind of wrote them down as I remembered them. And then I went back and
we're
looked up the
saying
stats.
2, yeah. It's Emmitt and Dorsett, without a doubt. Emmitt and Dorsett.
I went for the Pittsburgh guy first, by naturally. Go ahead, guys. Who else you got?
I'll throw an honorable mention in there. How about DeMarco Murray? And really, my basis on this is that 2014 season when he pretty much carried the Cowboys
The
to the
workhorse.
playoffs on his back. That was
They do
ironically
seem
one
to
of
work
Romo's
their,
best
running backs to
years.
death, and we're watching one get worked to death now.
Yeah, that was ironically
Unfortunately.
one of Romo's best years too, because he actually had a running game, offensive line in front of him. They helped him out tremendously, and DeMarco Murray actually, he only played 4 years for the Cowboys, but he had 4,500 career yards for the Cowboys, 27 touchdowns. He averaged 5.2, I think, over his career with the Cowboys. So he's one of the honorable mention guys for me, outside of the obvious two.
Mm-hmm. Doc?
I mean, my number one is Ezekiel. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's Emmitt Smith. It's Emmitt Smith. You can't get enough with Emmitt Smith. For me, it wasn't too close because, I mean, 18,000 plus yards, 164 touchdowns, daytime Pro Bowler, Offensive Rookie of the Year, MVP. I mean, you go down the list. He was everything Cowboys. I like the DeMarco Murray pick. It gave me flashbacks of when. I mean, how many years did we always say, "Hey, the best defense is a good offense, right? Just keep them off the field." That was like, how many years like 5 years in a row we were saying that because our defense was just absolutely horrid. So it gave me those awkward flashbacks from the 2000 teens. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I went Emmitt Smith, Tony Dorsett, and honorable mentions would be DeMarco Murray and Zeke. Why not? He's still growing, but I
went with Felix Jones. I was just always like, I just got finished saying, like, if I ever bought a Cowboys jersey, it would be a running back that I like, and it would definitely be the Thanksgiving Day jersey. So I took advantage of it.
That trio back when Felix Jones was a rookie, that trio was fun to watch. That Marion Barber, Felix Jones, Tashard Choice, those guys, Smash Dash and Tash.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. From each one of
they were
them.
a three-headed monster there. That was fun to watch back then, but especially Barber. That guy.
I love Marion Barber. Loved watching Marion Barber. The violent running style. He was fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, he was a power driver too, man.
Oh yeah.
I had him on my fantasy team, so I did watch.
Yeah,
that was back.
All right.
That was back in the 08 to 10 time, right?
Yeah, and I think Mark was mentioning before we got started too that was one of the first, if not the first, Arkansas guy that Jerry drafted.
That's right.
Probably the last.
Being alum there. Yeah. We did get John Ridgway this year. That's the last Arkansas guy that I can remember.
The Vanilla Gorilla. I'm excited about him.
Yeah.
Obvious choice. I went Michael Irving as one of my 4.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone picked Michael Irving.
Oh yeah, have to.
Anyone ever meet him?
No, I met Emmett. I never met Michael Irvin.
Never had the
I got the
pleasure of that.
Monday night game in Pittsburgh.
Type of excitement right in front of your face.
I got to meet Michael Irving the night after the Monday or Sunday night game, whatever they did a Sunday night game? Is that what they did? Whenever he did. No, that'd be Thursday night thing. He did Thursday night football, right?
Yeah, the NFL Network.
Because I think that's what the NFL Network is running. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him when he was flying out the next morning. Nice guy. I went with Drew Pearson as another one of my wide receivers.
I agree.
Hall of Famer, Super Bowl, 7,800 yards, 3 times first all team, 3 times Super Bowl.
A very delayed entry into the Hall of Fame.
Finally got that nod. Yep.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah.
I thought DeMarcus Ware would have got it this year too.
Well, it works in very mysterious ways. It's hard to really understand.
You could throw a Cowboy in there every year.
Right.
So much history on that team. It's some guys just might have to wait a couple years.
Right. And that's what I got on here too. I've got 3 of the 88s on there. CeeDee Lamb I could put an asterisk next to because of what I think he can accomplish. But
my
the
keeper.
388s, Irvin, Drew Pearson, Des Bryant, the it factor in all 3 of those guys, and the attitude to play in the NFL. Always fun to watch the tension that they brought onto the sidelines and then onto the field. And then Bob Hayes was my number 4. Pretty sure the only NFL player to win a Super Bowl and a gold medal. So pretty awesome. I think over 300 career receptions. He was a great punt and kick returner, and then just an absolute speedster on the field. You watch highlights of it. Obviously, he played before I was alive. I think he played before my parents even got married. So I was a very distant thought. And watching highlights of that guy is always fun.
Changed the game. He changed the game.
Absolutely.
You know,
All right.
the zone defense is around because of Bob Hayes.
Yeah.
No one could cover the guy, so he has to be on there.
All right. So Trey, you went with Michael Irving, Des Bryant.
Drew Pearson and Bob Hayes.
I went Tony Hill.
That's another good one.
But Adam, who'd you go with?
I had the same 4 that Trey had, actually. I love the Bullet Bob shout out. And, maybe just an honorable mention. It was for a short time, but what about T.O.? I loved when T.O. was in Dallas. He was great in Dallas.
He's on mine, Adam.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on mine.
Okay.
I had Miles Austin as my honorable mention.
Oh, Miles.
Miles would have been a good one, too.
He was on my fantasy team every year, it seemed. Everyone's like, when you taking him?
He's from New Jersey, too, by the way. Miles Austin from New Jersey.
Who else you got there, Doc?
All 5 of them have been mentioned. I have CD with an asterisk as my 5th, but the 4 I had were Michael Irvin, Drew Pearson, T.O., and Des Bryant as my 4 receivers, with CeeDee Lamb as an asterisk. I just think all those were so impactful for their eras, and they changed the game. I was at games where I would be shouting T.O. in the stands, and I was at games where I was putting up the X for Des Bryant. I was a little 4 or 5-year-old when Michael Irvin was like dominating the field, and twinkle in the eye somewhere for Drew Pearson. So not quite alive, but CeeDee Lamb, I get to enjoy his breakout season this season, where he can show off his true number 1. So there's the asterisk. But I love these 5 guys.
So as you guys see, Frankie James is being a Dallas fan today. But he's by you there, Adam. He's in Philly.
Okay.
He wants to come on. You guys care if I send him a link?
Yeah, bring him on.
Oh, more the merrier.
All right, let's get him in here.
We already know how this is going to go.
What's up, Gavin?
Let's see how this.
The kids have arrived.
All right.
He's a big Cowboy fan too.
I was gonna say, as long as they're Cowboy fans, they're all right.
Yeah. What jersey do you have? Can you say it louder so they can hear you?
Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott. Nice.
All right, I sent him the link. So what we got? I'm sorry, I was off the screen. I didn't get to see. We got some Dallas jersey going on for the little one.
Whenever I can. You buy them wholesale from out of the country. You get them for a lot cheaper.
What's up, buddy, little dude? What's his name?
This one is Gavin, and we have a little one. The little one's birthday last week. She's over there, Raylan.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, happy belated.
All choice. Thank you. Raylan, they're all saying happy birthday to you. Yeah.
So who's his favorite player?
This guy right here, Dak Prescott, is his favorite player.
Oh, yeah.
Not a bad choice.
He's kind of like Aiden Diggs. He just doesn't yell it out as much as Aiden does.
Patrick Mahomes is his favorite player.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is his favorite quarterback. Who is that? Patrick Mahomes?
All right. Anyway, moving on to tight ends. I went with Jay Novacek and Jason Witten.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with those two. I mean, especially Witten, obviously. I mean, he's number 2 all time in receptions. He's number 2 all time in yards, only trailing Tony Gonzalez. He's as good as they get in tight ends. One of the greats. 13,000 yards, 1,200 receptions. Love Jason Witten. Always a professional too. I'm pretty sure he won Walter Payton Man of the Year before. Also, you just have to love everything about Witten on and off the field, except for his broadcasting. That was the one thing he didn't do so well.
He's a head coach. He's a coach now at Liberty Christian. I think I wrote that down right.
Might be, yeah.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. Probably going to be a good, scary coach. Like, oh shit, I didn't listen to him.
Yeah, I think if you talk to
once in a while, so
talk to anybody, Witten and Novacek are going to be 1 and 2. It's
sure.
it's that easy. It's kind of like the running back situation, Smith and Dorsett, but Witten being the all-time leader in yards and receptions for the Cowboys, and then Jay Novacek, I think 5 years with the Cowboys, a Pro Bowl selection in all 5 of those years. Just super solid guys, part of 3 Super Bowl teams. That's the only thing that Jason Witten was missing.
He was a Pro Bowl all 5 years. I think it seemed like back then, the Pro Bowl was a lot different than it is now. Like, it actually meant something.
Yeah, they actually played it, you mean? They actually took it seriously?
Yeah.
Right. Anyone else go anyone different? Doc, you go any different?
I do not, man. Martellus Bennett just didn't cut it for me. So I have those 2, and I didn't get any better from that. Dalton Schultz?
I'm waiting for Jeremy Sprinkle to be my guy.
There you go. Jeremy Sprinkle.
I think Ferguson coming up. He might be a player. I liked him out of Wisconsin.
I mentioned that after the first preseason game, watching him on the field, the way he moves with the ball after the catch is something that I'm excited for, and getting him on the field and ready to go once we don't re-sign Dalton Schultz after this season. It'll be nice.
That's what question I meant to ask. With James Washington getting hurt, are they going to bring back Dez?
No.
I mean, you want it to happen, but it's not going to.
Probably not. I would say you have a better chance of bringing back Beasley than you do Dez.
Yeah.
I think Dez is in good enough shape to do it, though. If they gave him a call, he would. But
agree.
I think that ship has sailed, and
hey, we're gonna bring in Mr. Frank real quick and get his take on the Dallas Cowboys. And here he is. What's up, Frankie?
The Dallas Cowboys. Oh my goodness. So I don't know what you guys know about me. First of all, I'm from Philadelphia, the 215. I'm actually credentialed with the Flyers, and I was part of the media for a little bit with the Flyers, and did some Eagles stuff as well. Now, right off the bat, you guys are probably gonna be pretty surprised when I say this. First of all, Dez did catch the ball right off the bat.
Yes, he did.
My guy. My guy.
So right off the bat, I think the most thing I'm confused about here is that jersey that Adam's wearing. That's really fucking blowing my mind.
It's Felix Jones, buddy.
Really?
You're trying to figure it out when it popped on too. Why do you have a Felix Jones jersey?
It's the only jersey Dallas. It's the only Dallas thing I own. So I can wear it.
Tell people it's a Woodson jersey; they'll respect you more.
That's right.
Yeah, I like the Felix Jones. So I'll say this about the Dallas Cowboys. If it wasn't for one thing, you guys would be running the fucking show. Don't mind my curse. I'm sorry. Your coaching has ruined everything for you guys the last 10 years. They do not know how to utilize Dak and Zeke at the same time. They do not know how to run the offense through those two. Let me tell you something about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is a better than average quarterback. I'd say he's a high top tier 2, maybe 2 quarterbacks out of the tier 1. The thing that separates him from that is that his players ball out for him. They ball out for him. and that gives you that extra edge when push comes to shove. I think he's a talented quarterback. But I think that his players ball out for him, and it shows incredible leadership. Now, with Zeke, I think Zeke. Now, let's think about this. Like, who needs who more? Does Zeke need Dak more? Does Dak need Zeke more? They complement each other well. The coaching just is so bad in Dallas and has been for the last 10 years that they just do not know how to utilize the two of those. And I'm an Eagles fan. But
my
I also
thing
cover
with
sports.
My thing with Zeke is he's no longer the best running back on the Cowboys roster. And what I refer to him as the best PB RB in the league. He's the best pass blocking running back in the league, and that's the only reason he stays in on third and long situations.
It's for blocking, and it's
second down.
And it's crazy to think about
exactly.
that. Yeah. Because he was a running back that would just tear it up. I mean, he was a running back that I was taking, probably with my first pick at number 8 or maybe even number 4 in fantasy football. I mean, he was a guy that got it done. I mean, putting up 18 to 22 points every game, and then especially against the Birds. And then you see what he's become. And realistically, the more I think about it, when Dak went out, Ezekiel Elliott was exposed for what he really was. So to answer my own question, I think Zeke needed Dak more than Dak needed Zeke.
I think maybe in the rookie years, you could probably switch him. When Dak was coming up, he needed that running game to kind of ease some pressure off of him. But the last 3-4 years, Dak has really stepped up his game, and he's taken over that team. So Zeke's
got players that are going to play for him. He is the leader. He's the general. He's the coach.
And I can agree with you on the coaching. On the coaching, when it comes to Zeke, last year Zeke tore his PCL like week 6 or whatever, and then he played on it all year. And you got a guy with Tony Pollard behind him just sitting on the bench, letting Zeke get 20 carries a game when you got a healthy running back that's averaging 7 yards a pop. That's on the coaching staff.
Yep.
100%. And I'll even say with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I'm a Penn State guy. I know some of those guys pretty well. More like Trace McSorley and I got to meet Saquon a couple times. Tragic story there. That's just so sad. But you look at like with Miles Sanders. They don't really know how to use Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders got hurt, and they ran the ball and had 3-4 touchdowns with whoever it was in the lineup at that point. Miles Sanders is
that Scott.
Well, it was Boston. It was Jordan Howard. It was whoever they filled in at that point. And you have a dual threat quarterback, but that essentially sets up play action. Miles Sanders is an 1,100 rushing yard running back if you use him right, and he's damn good. You have to feed him. But who do you run the offense through? I think Jalen's going to have a damn good year, and I'd like to see Miles Sanders get up around that 950, maybe even break 1,000 yards this year. But then again, I also say that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith is going to break 1,000. It's explosiveness all over. But once again, I mean, the coaching is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys don't run away. It's the only reason why I don't pick the Cowboys to win the division this year. I think it's close, maybe a game and a half, but it's the coaching is what it falls down on. I mean, there's only so much that Dak can do. He's not calling the plays, but Mike McCarthy, look who is he? He was behind Aaron Rodgers for so long.
There's a couple of things I like to take takes on. Just I don't know there's a running back in the NFL that carries their team without a quarterback properly. You can even make a case maybe Derrick Henry, but even at that, I don't think he could either.
Oh, Tannehill had an awful year last year. Awful. He's just one running back that just will do it. You just give him the ball. Like Tannehill, he killed me in fantasy last year. Thank God for my main man, Justin Herbert, stepping in big, who I was a huge fan of with Oregon. But Derrick Henry's just one of those running backs that will just take over, quarterback or not.
Yeah, I think that's just my take is that even the best of the best, like even running backs like Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey, and they have to have a quarterback that they work well with. Like they couldn't do it with some scrub behind QB and say that they're going to be effective and lead an offense. I just don't think there's that guy right now in the NFL. And then my second thing is McCarthy is the only coach to actually get Rodgers to the promised land. Rodgers can't do it by himself. He chokes, and no other coaches proved that they could do it. So the fact that we have McCarthy, I'm not saying he's great. I fucking hate him. But the fact that we have McCarthy and he proved that with Rodgers, like maybe he gets us that one season where he does that with Dak. And the other piece, the third piece, I don't think Dallas wins the division, so I'm going to push back on it. But the third piece is the
Oh, you might pull him
so
out. He's
much
getting
more
froggy.
there than the
You driving
Oh,
through
you guys
bad
can't hear me
stuff right
anymore?
now, there, Doc?
That was better. That one was
Yeah,
better
I mean,
than your last comment.
You got,
That was bad, sir. You in
You
a
guys
bad
got me
service
again?
area right now, Doc?
yeah, I might be, guys. I apologize.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
it's all good, man.
Adam,
it's all good.
anything on all this?
Well, like it could be the coaching, kind of like you mentioned. I think that Jerry might have something to do with it also. I think Jerry's kind of shown us a lot that he holds on to things for a little bit too long. That's kind of been like a trend last year with, Zeke still getting so much action with how good Pollard looked. I mean, maybe that was the coaching. Maybe that's also coming from up top saying, make sure you're still giving Zeke the ball. I want Zeke to keep getting the ball.
Jerry don't want to be wrong. Jerry will not be wrong. He
Right.
don't give two shits. He will
And
not
if he's
be
still
wrong.
paying Zeke, he's going to want to get his money's worth and going to try to force it that way because, we all say it. We all agreed. We all watched Tony Pollard run the ball last year. He needs to get the ball more. It's just his time. And that's nothing against Zeke. It's like the short lifespan of the running back in the NFL. And Zeke's kind of run his course at this point. It's time for Pollard to be the lead guy with Zeke spelling him instead of the other way around.
That was my other question. Can Pollard handle
well
it?
said.
Well, we got to find out. We got to find out.
I mean,
Gotta
Pollard's an
find out.
explosive running back that teams were not ready for.
Right.
What's it going to
Couldn't
be
have said
like
any
when
better.
teams are ready?
It's just
for
got to be
Pollard?
more distribution. It can't just be Tony Pollard on a 3rd and long situation or on some sort of play where you're going to run a screen pass or running him on 1st down. I mean, that comes down to Kellen Moore too.
Yeah.
Using more.
Love Callan. Big Boise
using
guy.
him the more often. That's the only thing that's going to take. I don't care if it's every other play, but getting him in there once or twice. I mean, what was the? I think it was the playoff game where Tony Pollard was in there on maybe 10% of the snaps or something like that. I mean, he was barely out there, and he's the best.
And he still had more yards than Zeke. I believe
that's the call.
Right?
That's the call. That's the call from upstairs. But if you guys don't mind, I just want to just pop in. I love you, Dallas fans. You guys are always awesome. Adam, always appreciate letting me come in and give my little take real quick. I'm always a fan of all of his stuff. That's my boy. Let's all do something together soon, guys. I just want to kind of send some love from Philadelphia. We're not all that bad, guys. Don't worry.
I appreciate you.
Adam's from right by you, actually. Adam's
who's by
from
me?
New Jersey.
Yeah.
What part?
I'm from New Jersey. Edison, kind of near New Brunswick.
I know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, I had an office out in Ewing, New Jersey. I used to live in Morristown and Hainesport.
Okay. I used to live in Dover, so I know Morristown well.
I just got back from Motor City, Maryland. Actually, we had to go through Dover. We'll link up for an Eagles-Dallas game, buddy. How's that sound?
Perfect. Let's do
We'll
it.
do a live show. Yeah, we'll do a
Do
live
it.
one. All right.
Yep.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me on. All right. Go Birds.
All right, guys. Take it easy,
Thanks,
Frank.
Ricky.
All right. So I went with Larry Allen. It was hard to get off of the lineman there, but I went with Larry Allen. Now, Rayfield Reich was an honorable mention on my end. That was Frankie. He jumps in occasionally, does some quick cameo, and gets out of here, says what he got to say, and doesn't always like typing on the YouTube board. So
I'll give my last little tidbit before my previously scheduled events take place. Larry Allen is also first on mine. I don't think you can really go anywhere else. Me and Mark actually had a conversation about this earlier with another guy who had a very short-lived Cowboys career that could be on there. I'll let him
bench press
mention it.
700 pounds.
Yes.
And then he squatted
700
900.
The dude
Dude's
was
a
an
freak of
absolute
nature, man.
monster.
He's an animal.
But for me, also being the modern guy, Tyron Smith is going to be there someday. His last few years haven't been the greatest. I've actually argued to get rid of him, but based off of what you're paying him, he's probably the best left tackle for the price. Because now these guys are getting upwards of 18 to 20 million a year or whatever. I think he's on the books for what was his deal? 12 to 14 million per year over X amount of years. And then Zach Martin, wait for him to retire, but I mean, he's arguably the best guard of our generation. So have to throw him in there. I'm going to deuces out. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm going to go watch kids soccer.
Okay, have fun, man.
All right, Trey. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice meeting you guys. We'll link up
again,
before
man.
the season starts too.
Like,
yeah,
let's do it. Let's talk some rivalry one day.
Mark, we have the
Have
same
fun,
opinion.
buddy.
So
Take it
basically, what he says will be the same thing. All right, see you guys.
All right, Trey.
Yeah, buddy.
All righty, guys. Yeah, so we got 4. That's all we need. Screen just got a lot bigger. All
I
right.
can get into what Trey and I were talking about earlier. My guys, after Larry Allen, of course, is Eric Williams. The guy, when you have Michael Strahan in his Hall of Fame speech mentioning Eric Williams, his aggression and physicality, the guy, maybe if it wasn't for the car accident, could have been, a stud for 10, 15 years, but that kind of derailed his career a little bit. I mean, granted he did play till 2001, of course, but he just kind of wasn't the same guy after that car accident in '94. But anyone really on that 92 to 94 offensive line you could go with for best offensive lineman.
3 Super Bowls, can't complain.
I mean, I definitely agree with Larry Allen. He used to block people like 20 yards downfield, like regularly. I mean, Larry Allen's one of the best offensive guards, offensive linemen I've ever personally watched play. I like that Trey shouted out Tyron Smith because for me, like when I watch Tyron Smith play, he's so good. But the issue is like he does make some boneheaded mistakes too. Like he like loses concentration once in a while with the false starts or like the holdings, like he gets penalized more than I'd like him to. But when he's on his game, he's as good as they get in the NFL right now. And then the one other guy I just wanted to shout out because it's so unfortunate that he had to call it quits early because I think he was really on a special track, and that was Travis Frederick. I loved watching Travis Frederick right in the middle. That was such a great find in the draft when they took him. He looked like he was on his way to being maybe the best center in the NFL and maybe having a really special career, and it's unfortunate that his health wasn't going to allow him to do so.
Yeah, guy everyone called a reach when they made that pick, but he just became a stud.
Mm-hmm. Him and Zach Martin working together was beautiful.
Zach Martin's another one you can mention.
Yeah.
It's, the consistency over the last, what's it been, 9 years? It's been otherworldly.
Mm-hmm. And just think, we were considering taking Johnny Manziel in that spot instead of Zach Martin.
Would have been bad.
What a mess that would have been, huh?
Yeah, might have you guys saved Johnny Manziel, or would he be the same guy?
No way. He's a lost cause.
Yeah.
So he just seemed like a wild ball even in college. I mean,
he's doing like that fan-controlled football now, right? Him and T.O., I think, are on the same team in that like weird fan-controlled league.
I don't know anything about it, so I don't you know what I mean? I just don't know anything about it to even talk about it. I heard like the fans call in the play, voting it in within a minute or whatever online or whatever.
Yeah, it's like an interactive, like social media type of thing, but they're actually running the plays on the field, I guess. I don't know. Like, I've never actually watched it. I just heard that Johnny Manziel was throwing touchdowns to T.O. Like, man, that's something.
Fantasy football on steroids, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Who'd you go with on the lineman there, Doc?
I had Larry Allen, Zach Martin, and Travis Frederick as my top 3. I had stats to talk about, but I won't bore you with that. The only other guy I really want to do an honorable mention for is Andre Giroud. Is there anybody more Cowboy-like than Andre Giroud, who was always mentioned as he was pancaking somebody or was never injured? He was just always in the lineup. Kind of reminds me of Tyron Smith, how he's always there. Although Tyron Smith, I have words about Tyron Smith in the playoffs last year. He was absolutely horrendous against San Francisco, but let's not reopen old wounds. Am I right, guys? So we'll skip that. But Andre Giroud, I think, was my other honorable mention. If I remember Cowboy football, if I remember Tony Romo, if I remember all the different running backs we had, Andre Giroud was always that staple that they would run behind. And so I wanted to give him a shout out.
All right. Do we have anything else for the offensive all-time line?
Good.
Mark, you look like you had something to say.
No. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of Gerard, but he's kind of been. He was one of those guys that was. I mean, we didn't have anything better, so he was kind of that guy for me. But it is what it is. Every fan's different.
All right. We'll move to defense. We'll start with linemen. I went with Charles Haley. The obvious choice for me was, he had 3 Super Bowls. I know he got 5, 2 with San Francisco, which, can we mention that team on here? Yeah, Hall of Fame in both college and pro, 5-time Super Bowl. I don't know. Did he go in as a Cowboy or a Niner?
I'm not sure.
He won 3 with the Cowboys, so I don't know.
That's what I was wondering. I didn't know. It didn't say whenever I was doing my research.
For me,
I'm sure, do you think, Roethlisberger retired last year and so was Brady? Do you think the NFL told Brady to come back so we didn't have a mess of Patriots and Steeler fans in Canton?
Conspiracy.
I mean, that's just my thought. Because there's no why do you have to come back? Do you really need to try and win 8? I mean, obviously, I guess you do when you have that mentality, but you've done everything.
Well, they can't really find Brady right now, right? So who knows where he's even at, if he even plays this year. Everybody know that story? Or we? No?
Yeah, he's MIA right now. Personal matter.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody can find. Apparently, it's about his mom, but nobody's heard from him in 3 weeks. It's crazy. He's your quarterback.
Who's that?
Tom Brady.
I think this was a planned vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the guy was retired. Gazelle was still working, so they probably had to actually make vacation time. And whenever they came back, maybe it was like a pre-planned trip when you're going back into a new job. Like, hey, I got this trip planned that it's already paid for. That's just my own thought.
Well, there's rumors that he's doing something for Fox, like The Masked Singer or something like that, because he signed that big contract already with Fox for the broadcasting. There's a rumor out there that there was something else in that contract that he was supposed to film this summer. So when he decided to return to football, he's like, well, yeah, but I still got to do that other commitment first. And he just doesn't want to announce right now that it's for TV filming because he knows that he will get destroyed by social media and whatnot if he's filming a TV show instead of at training camp.
Do you really care if you have that much money?
No. Well, he kind of does, I think. I think he cares about that.
I don't think he wants to get destroyed, though. You probably should get some work with that line. That line is decimated.
Yeah. But that's just a rumor. Who knows? It could be his mom. I know his mom was sick. I don't know if she's still sick, so it could have something to do with that too.
Who'd everyone else go with?
I went with Bob Lilly. I mean, it's, he's
Mr. Cowboy.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Cowboy, 7 All-Pros, Hall of Famer. I mean, for his generation, he was one of, the best defensive linemen of that time. You can make a case that he's one of the best defensive tackles ever. So yeah, I went with Bob Lilly for the D-line.
Name my daughter after him, Bob Lilly. That's my choice, Lilly. So,
wow,
took the words out of my mouth, Adam. I don't know if we share a brain somewhere down the line, but we definitely have that. I like the honorable mention Randy White and Too Tall Jones too. Just 2 players that are absolutely phenomenal there for D-line choices. So, just want to shout them out.
111 sacks.
Harvey Martin as well.
Harvey.
6 defensive player of the year, 9 Pro Bowls for Randy White. I mean, definitely an honorable mention. Mark, who'd you go with?
I mean, the obvious choice is Bob Lilly, but Harvey Martin as well. I thought, he'd be the sack leader if they actually counted sacks before 1982.
They started keeping that stat.
1982, yeah. So and I think he played like 6 or 7 years before they started counting sacks, and he'd be the sack leader for sure. And I
He
think
would
he'd
have
have
more
the,
than
I think he'd have the
DeMarcus Ware at
season record as well
117.
too. I think he'd have the season record as well too. I think someone did a count on one of his seasons, and he ended up with like 24 sacks in a year, in a 12-game year. So the guy was a stud.
Damn.
It was just unofficial because it wasn't an official stat yet. So, but yeah, Harvey Martin's but you can't go wrong with Mr. Cowboy, Bob Lilly.
Absolutely not.
I went with on my linebackers. I went with Sean Lee and DeMarcus Ware. I had to go with the Pittsburgh kids. Sorry.
Yeah, for a bit there, I actually had DeMarcus Ware as a lineman. Then I had to change my change him to linebacker. So I had to correct that. But DeMarcus Lawrence for I'm sorry, DeMarcus Ware, not DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Ware for obvious reasons. And you know, didn't get the Super Bowl with us, but I'm glad he got his. And you mentioned earlier, you know, Hall of Famer, definitely gonna be a bit in. And then I want to shout out these two just because I have nostalgia with them, and I guess they just ran across my screen. But Dexter Coakley and Dat Nguyen were just absolutely phenomenal household names. They stapled the defense. They were captains. Those are two just get a bid for me just from a nostalgia standpoint. The stats are there to kind of back my word, but just honorable mention behind DeMarcus Ware for me.
Well, there's two linebackers, Doc.
What's up?
There were two linebackers.
Yeah, DeMarcus Ware and Sean Lee were my picks, and then Dexter Coakley and Dat Nguyen were my honorable mentions. My bad.
I didn't realize Sean Lee was involved in 794 tackles. I think I read or saw.
For a guy that's always hurt, you know that's
incredible.
He was a warrior out there. Sean Lee was one of my favorite players when he was playing. I loved watching Sean Lee. You know, it's really a shame that he just got unlucky with his knees a lot, and you know he could have been a player. How about Chuck Howley and Leroy Jordan and the old timers back there? They're in the Ring of Honor. You know, great linebackers from back in the day. So I just want to shout them out. But DeMarcus Ware is my favorite all-time Cowboy. You know, he's the guy that, you know, he was a sack artist for the Cowboys, and he was my favorite player to watch.
Okay. Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everyone. DeMarcus Ware is, you know, the most obvious choice. And then my second one actually was Dexter Coakley. I love that Doc over there shouted him out. Dexter Coakley to me was like the kind of player, like every Cowboy fan loves Dexter Coakley, loved watching Dexter Coakley because he was so valuable to that defense. But like, he didn't have, I think, that same value or like respect on like a full NFL level. He was like, when he was one of your guys, you could appreciate how much he meant to your team, but I don't think he quite got that same recognition across the league that he probably deserved because we know how invaluable he was to that defense.
All right.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Defensive backs, I went Sanders, Woodson, Walls, and Mel Renfro. Mel Renfro, I guess, holds the franchise record for interceptions from what I was reading. So he only returned 3 of them for touchdowns, but it's still good. I was at work trying to finish this, so I didn't get all my stats written down, so bear with me. I mean, obviously, Deion Sanders and Darren Woodson, not bad choices. And Everson Walls, from what I was reading, was one hell of a cover. Sorry, I ran out of time. We got crushed. I was trying to finish it all this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you for sure on Deion. I mean, arguably the best cornerback to ever play football. Definitely with you on Darren Woodson, one of the greatest Cowboys of all time, all around for all of his, you know, leadership and contributions on the field too, of course. I agree with you on Mel Renfro. But the fourth one I went with Roy Williams. He was just such a different type of safety. He was such a force in the middle of the field. He was one of the most feared guys in the entire NFL. kind of playing in a time where they were kind of like transitioning between the big hitting being allowed and it becoming penalties. Imagine if he played like a few years prior. I mean, he would have been like another Ronnie Lott if he was allowed to just free range, back before all like the safety rules started coming in. So Roy Williams definitely made a huge difference in the middle of that defense.
Absolutely. The rule book destroyed his career.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a shame, really, because I love watching him just lay out running backs and receivers coming around the middle there.
That was the fun of football, man. They really took it a lot out of it, unfortunately. Who you got, Mark?
Well, you mentioned the three guys with Sanders and Woodson and Renfro. Another guy I throw in there is Cliff Harris, another old timer. One of the best safeties in the league back when he was playing. And, I just like giving nods to the old timers too, even though I grew up watching 90s and early 2000s Cowboys football. But those guys paved the way. So I want to show them a little respect.
Yeah, I guess I went old school too. I guess I was all 90s. Well, I mean, maybe earlier 2000. Darren Woodson was what 99 or 90.
97 to or 96, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have those numbers up by hand. Sorry. Like I said, I was scrambling. I had it all written down. It was like Saturday mornings are usually a little slow today, and it was not slow. So I got thrown off a little bit. But who you got, Doc?
So I'm not going to read the names, but I'll just kind of go right. Sanders is an easy one. Walls is an easy one. I actually have some other names I'd like to put out there. I had Terrence Newman. I know he's not going to have the gaudy stats or the win share, but absolutely did his job as a number one for many years on a very bad defense most of the time. And I don't think you ever heard Terrence Newman while also having thereafter Orlando Scandrick. And I have both of them kind of mixed into the range of Cowboys that were household names. And you see a trend with my picks as I think of all-time Cowboy greats. I think of the names I constantly would hear as I was growing up through the times. I also, if I had to put an asterisk on CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to put an asterisk on Trayvon Diggs because it's too early. But, I mean, the man is a ball hawk and he makes the plays. So, I just wanted to put his name out there too. We're going to do this all-time Cowboy show because maybe 10 years from now I'll look like a genius. So I'm going to put Trayvon Diggs' name there and say this guy could be a potential future Hall of Famer if he had 5 more seasons like he just had. It's hands down what he's going to be. So just want to put his name in there with all the all-time greats.
I mean, he's got mad potential. Just hopefully injuries don't kill his career because he's pretty damn good. All right. So we did our all-time lineups. How do you think they'd fare in like a Madden game?
They got to be one of the better teams, right?
Have to be.
They have to be up there. If we're going roster for roster, I think they'd have to be in the top 5.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna vote. I'm not gonna vote because I do them all. So. So what do you guys think for the season? What are you guys thinking? Start with Mark, and then we'll work our way around. I know you guys want to get off here soon and watch this game. I know it. Hopefully you hit DVR because we are about 8 minutes in right now.
We gotta watch these receivers because we're really getting decimated right now. Dak needs weapons to throw to. I'm not worried about the defense. I think they're going to pick up right where they left off from last year. They got the Dan Quinn factor, and maybe Diggs doesn't have 10 picks, but he's still a lockdown guy to me. And I think with Parsons and healthy DeMarcus Lawrence coming off the edge right now, I think we're going to be, they're going to be a force on the defensive side of the ball. It wouldn't shock me if they repeated as the NFC's champion. It just hasn't happened in the last what has it been, like 16 years? There hasn't been a repeat NFC East champion. So I'm rooting for him. I don't get the hype around the Eagles. You know, I think they have a pretty good roster, but I think the Cowboys have a better roster. Maybe the coaching, like Frankie was saying, is their detriment, but we'll see.
I like McCarthy. I'm not gonna, he is a Pittsburgh guy, and maybe sometimes, you can't walk into every new situation and be on top of everything. Sometimes, it does take a little bit to get going,
He gets a lot of flack, and he also came in on during COVID where he couldn't really implement his coaching style right away to these guys. So maybe this is a year where you really start to see the McCarthy touch on this team.
Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I'll continue with that McCarthy point too. And I mean, his first year, he basically didn't have Dak Prescott. He only had him for those first couple games. So essentially last year was like year one in the McCarthy system. And, maybe, like with a coach, a lot of times the second year is better than the first year. You grow the system, you get used to it. That second off season, you can kind of, use what you learned from the first year and really apply it in the second year. Now, what they're going to do at wide receiver, I find it hard to believe that they're not going to add one more. There's a couple of free agents still out there who can come in and help right now. I don't know if it's going to be before week one, but I would be a little surprised if they don't sign somebody. Someone like a Will Fuller is out there. Cole Beasley was mentioned before. Or even when he gets healthy, as much as I would hate it, it wouldn't shock me if they go after someone like Odell Beckham later on down the year. I mean, I wouldn't love that signing, but he is going to be out there, and who knows what happens with that, because this receiving core, even when Gallup is healthy, I just don't think it's where it needs to be. Like losing Cooper, I think, was a really huge loss from last year. And I know we drafted Tolbert, and even when we signed Washington, again, I just don't think that the receiving core was what I'd want it to be. I would want maybe one more guy in there if they can get it, because they are asking for a lot of unproven assets to really step up big this year and support Dak Prescott, which I think Dak's going to be great this year. Like I am not really worried about Dak at all, but you still got to surround him with the right weapons. And it's a lot of unproven guys who don't have a ton of chemistry with them. And I think CeeDee's going to have a huge year. I think Dalton Schultz has to step up in a big way. And I think that they're counting on him probably to do a lot this year, especially until at least Michael Gallup comes back. So I do have, some questions about, how the offense is going to look with that lack of weapons. As we talked about before, Tony Pollard needs to get the ball more. He showed last year what he can do per touch. He's explosive. Every time he had the ball in his hands, it just looked better, felt better. It felt more optimistic than when they kept just giving Zeke the ball and it was just 3 yards every time he touched the ball. So hopefully we get a bigger dose of Pollard. And I'm actually very excited about the defense. Like Mark said, the Dan Quinn factor, I think just another year of experience under Quinn. Micah Parsons coming into his second year, hopefully getting a full season with Lawrence on the other side. I think our defense can do big things this year.
Doc?
I worry about special teams a little bit too. I'm going to mimic what everybody said. I think this is an 11-12 win team realistically, right? I'm not going to do the Michael Irvin and say that they're going to be a 17-win team and go to the Super Bowl and they're going to rival the 1985 Bears. I'm not going to say that. Although that is the ceiling. Am I right? Just kidding. So I go with the Cowboys are a 11-win team. They're going to probably win the division by a couple of games. I get the Eagles hype a little bit. It's just unproven. The one thing I was trying to make a point on earlier that I got cut off with the signal was that Mike McCarthy kind of got run out of Green Bay for a number of issues, but one of the big ones was that he played the running back too. I think at the time was Jamal Williams way too much compared to using Aaron Jones, and I think that was that PTSD may pay detrimental to not using Pollard enough, and I think that's a big deal when he's talking with ownership and making sure we're using Zeke the right way, and so I can feel like why more. But I do agree that the baton must be passed if Zeke is ineffective, even healthy this year. Because I do think that the injuries of why it wasn't so progressive last year. I mean, he still was a 1,000-yard rusher, but we can all agree it wasn't as effective as years before when he's actually healthy. So when I learned that he played through injury, it makes so much more sense. But with a healthy Dak, a healthy Zeke, a Dak that's running, if you check his QBR, he's much better on the run than he is in the pocket. We should see the team get better, and I would put good money on it to be a Cowboy soon. So that's my Cowboys take. But I'm optimistic about the Cowboys this year. I think we're gonna be a playoff team, and I think we're due for a repeat, right? I think the NFC East is just due for a repeat. So let's put money there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles got better, but I think that the gap last year was bigger than people are giving it credit for. Like maybe the Cowboys, regressed just a tiny bit because of losing Cooper, and the Eagles did get better from last year, but that doesn't make them better than the Cowboys, because I think last year the Cowboys were head and shoulders a better team than the Eagles were. They were significantly better, not just a little bit better.
Yeah, people don't put a lot of people put a lot of weight on the quarterbacks as well. Jalen Hurts is maybe the third or fourth best quarterback in the division. So Dak Prescott is by far the top of the division.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know you guys are trying to watch the game. Do we got anything else to say before we end this?
How about them Cowboys?
How about them?
Yeah, read them, boys.
All right. Yeah, I mean, as far as the NFC East, I do think the Cowboys. Did I have them? Hold on. Cowboys. I had them at 12-5.
There you go.
I like that more than 11.
I did my whole. This was a challenging thing to do. A lot of circles. So I don't know if 12-5 is good enough to win a division, but that's where I have them.
I think that's right there. Yeah.
I think that's winning it. I think that's good enough to win it.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we go, do you guys want to give one more shout out how to get you guys to the audience, and then we will wrap this up, and you guys can get back to watching your game. But they're playing the Chargers tonight, right?
Yeah.
Doc, you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You can catch me at Into the Lab Pod on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central. Going back to our regular time, 7:30 p.m. Central, starting first week of September. But appreciate you guys having me on. And finally, nice to be talking with y'all. And maybe we'll do a countdown with the Cowboys segment and have everybody on the show upcoming soon. So I appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you, Doc, for stopping by. Adam?
I cover the NFL full-time. Sportskita.com is the website that I work for. All my work is always posted on my Twitter page at Adam Hulse Sports. Running my own podcast too, Sports Talk with Adam Hulse. It's on all the major platforms. Check it out.
All right. Thank you. Mark. I almost said my name.
Yeah, you can catch Trey and I on our podcast, Mad Cowboys Disease Podcast. Our Twitter handle is on the screen there at Mad Cowboys Pod. Yeah, we're just a couple dads talking Cowboys. So if you're into that, then check us out. But thank you guys for having me on, and it was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
All right. And I am Sports Talking It, and I like talking to fans of all teams. So that's my goal, and I love doing it. It's fun. I like getting to know people. Anyway, all right, we're gonna close out shop here, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Maybe we get together like midterm or before, and maybe do a rivalry. Obviously, we got some Eagle fans now, and I got some Niner fans, obviously. So yeah, maybe we can get together and do a little round table of that talk, huh?
Let's do it. I'm in.
So,
that'd be awesome.
But all right, guys, we're gonna be signing off here. I'm gonna get my farewell, and we will talk. Thank you, boys, for stopping by.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.